Hey guys, this is Don for Padlock Technologies again. Quick lab video. Out here at Cisco Live, but always be labbing. I always say always be labbing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a quick lab. Especially this one is for my CCNAs out there. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about global to VRF routing. Now, when you learn VRFs and all that good stuff, it's basically just chopping up a router. You're having logical, different routing tables that are separated from each other that can't see each other. Okay, that's what VRFs basically do. Virtual routing and forwarding instance, basically. Now, when you first learn this, what you're usually going to learn is how to leak from how to leak a route that's in the VRF into the global routing table by doing a static route that goes into the interface, that goes into the next hop that lives within the VRF. What you usually not taught is the other way around, is to go from the VRF into global. Now, I remember specifically, I think this may have came up on my first attempt at the CCIE. I think this came up. Not sure, can't remember, but I've always remembered how to do it. And from a CCNA perspective, I know you guys want to see like some of the stuff, some of the cool like tricks you could do with the Cisco iOS system or with just Cisco in general. And this is one of those nerd knobs that Cisco likes to test people on, right? Remember, the Cisco exams, for the most part, are technology exams. They're not best practice exams. So they're trying to see if you know the technology. So here's what we're going to do. Router 1 is in the global routing table. As you can see, it's in this is actually a /31. It's not a /24. And then router 3 is in a VRF called VRF lab. So what that looks like is, let's open up router 2 here. If we open up router 2, just so you can see for yourself, show VRF. So if we show VRF, since we're not doing anything from an MPLS standpoint, you're not going to see a RD or value or anything like that, or a RT, so we're not doing MPLS. You're just going to see lab, and you see interface E00, which is this interface here. That is in the lab VRF. So if we go show run Ethernet E00, you see there, it's in the lab VRF, and we're going to talk about this a little later. And then I have some routing protocols going on here. So we got two routing instances of EIGRP. One's going to be routing instance 101. The other one's going to be routing instance 100. Now, 101 is in the VRF. 100 is in the global routing table. So here's my 100 global routing table. And here's my VRF enabled one where we're using name EIGRP versus the old ASN number method. Now, let's look at the routing tables, and let's go from a global standpoint. So if I do show IP route, you see this static route here is what I created, saying, hey, if you want to get to router 3's loopback, which is over here, you're going to go to this interface, and the next hop is going to be 10.1.2.1. Now the reason, let me show you what this actually looks like from a configuration standpoint. So here's how you leak that route that's in the global routing table into the global routing table, because without this, it wouldn't know how to get there. Now, this IP route for this route here, I could have just said Ethernet 00. Now, what that actually does if you leave it that way is it has to do an ARP every time you do that, right? Because it has to say, okay, how do I get to this address? I'm going to send the ARP. Now, what I did was I pretty much said, just go to this next hop, right? Technically, I didn't have to do this, but I usually do this to say, hey, this is the next hop to get to it. Now, on the IP route VRF side, and this is where the magic comes in, as you can see, there is no route going back, right? There's no route to get back to router 1's loopback. So there's no IP route, 10.255.255.1 back the other way. This is where your PBR, you're going to use a technique called PBR, policy-based routing, but you're going to use a specific command in there that says, hey, if this example, if this host route tries to go to this host route, you're actually going to look in the global routing table to get there, right? And this is that nerd knob that Cisco likes to test about because I haven't seen this in any of the books. All right. There's something in the like Cisco manuals. This one you got to read the Cisco manuals or the guides that's online to get this because I haven't seen this specific command talked about anywhere. So how does this look? So let's look at the IP access list that I created here. So the IP access list just says, hey, if router 3's loopback tries to talk to router 1, that's what we're matching. And now let's look at the route map. So what we're going to do is we're going to match that access policy. And here's the command, set global. When you do this, what that's going to do is look in the global routing table to get to this route, right? And as we know, EIGRP knows how to get there because if you look at our show IP route, there's the route right there. Okay. So from the VRF going back, once it hits this interface, because we have that policy back on here, this is where our PBR kicks in. So we look at the E00 interface again. This is basically our PBR policy here, our IP policy. So what's going to happen is it's going to look at the IP policy. It's going to match this access list because router 3, the return traffic, router 3 is going to have to try to talk to router 1. And then it's going to say, hey, set global, look at the global routing table to get there. Now, let's test it out. So here's router 1. Now, ping 10.255.255.3, and we have to source it from our loopback. And when we source it from our loopback, there you go. Traffic is now bidirectional. I'm going from my global routing table to a VRF, from a VRF back to global. And that's how you do it using the set global command. Again, this is a nerd knob that you have to kind of look on, Cisco's documentation to find it. I haven't seen any book that even talked about the set global command under a route map. So now you know how to use it. Happy labbing. This is Don from Padlock Technologies again. Thank you for watching this quick video that I had to do a quick lab. Like I just got bored and I needed to do a quick lab. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to share, comment, like, and subscribe to this channel. If you want to support this channel a little bit more, you can become a member as well. There's going to be a link below. Become a member. You get early access to videos. And I'm dropping 3 guides to help people get their CCNA and CCNP. You get that absolutely free when you become a member. If you don't want to become a member, but you still want the guides, it's going to be a link in the description below. You can pre-order those guides up to, I think it's like a week now, up to June 13th, and then that's going to give you 20% off. After June 13th, it will go back up to the full price. So if you want to get it with the 20% discount, click the link in the description below, and you'll get these little tidbits and tricks so you'll be confident when you're going for your studies or for your labs. All right? This is Don again. Thank you, and have a nice day.